What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast. Today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 34. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Josh, you know what they say, as one national nightmare ends, another one always begins. And that's why we're starting hard and fast, and we're saying over at patreon.com/the Comment Writers, as of now, as of listening to this, you can vote for our next Watch and React. That's a hard phrase to say. Where the Devil Show O's is finally over, Josh. At least in headcanon and viewership, we finished it. The people haven't seen it yet. But that means we, once again, much like last year around the same time, we're coming to you, the people, for what show do you want to see us watch and or react to. So if you look at patreon.com, once again, /the Comment Writers, there's a post on there that says if you want to vote for a show, type in your answer here. Feel free to vote over there. Or if you're a paid member of our Patreon, you can go onto our Discord itself and shoot us a message and say, hey, idiots, watch this. And we will once again have a grand democratic vote all the way at the end to decide this year's true national nightmare.
Because the Patreon one should allow free votes as well, right? From...
Yeah, the Patreon post itself is a free post for everybody. And speaking of that, Josh and I have decided to up our game a little bit. And once again, as of this recording, if you're listening to this now, you can actually, if you've never been on our Patreon before, or if you are a free member, you can actually test drive the first 3 episodes of every series we've done so far. Because maybe you always hear us say like, oh, we do watch and reacts. And you're like, that sounds stupid. I don't know what they sound like in that. Even though you hear our voices all the time on this. So along with that, you can check out the first 3 episodes of every season we watch. So that's X-Aid, O's, Sentai shows. What was last season's? Boom Boom Jer?
Boom Boom Jer, yeah.
Goes Ayuger Now. I think we have Black Suns on there too. There's so many things. There's so many things I can't even think of them all. But you can get your first hit for free of about an hour's worth of each show, hosted by yours truly and the other one over there truly. And just a whole bunch of new things over on the Patreon to check out. And once again, that's patreon.com/the Comment Writers.
Yeah, we've been accused of not explaining the watch and reacts very well, or using outdated references, I guess. Yeah. I should say.
No one knows. I say it and no one knows what I'm saying. That's the real problem.
So if you want to find that out yourself, yeah, feel free. We have lots of it available for free now. You can go check it out and see if you want more. But hey, even if you don't, give the Patreon a follow for free. Because, you get to vote in stuff like this, like we're talking about right now. You get to see the occasional free episode that we put up when we start new shows and stuff like that. So things to see, even if you're not a paying member. So go over there and check that out. Patreon.com/the Comment Writers.
Things to see, people to do.
Toby, when you talked about a national nightmare beginning, I thought you were referring to the fact that I am hot off the presses of having just eaten Taco Bell. That's our new national nightmare.
That's very localized.
It's true.
It's kind of like how almost every stupid holiday now, like there will be National Hot Dog Day, and that'll be like June 1st or right around Memorial Day, and then it'll also be like International Hot Dog Day, and then there'll be World Hot Dog Day, and like every holiday nightmare or whatever has all sorts of sliding scales now. We have the localized version, we have the worldly version, and much like that, today is super localized to Josh's GPS coordinates, Taco Bell Nightmare Day.
How do you think they get those holidays? Like when it's like, all right, so randomly today is National Coconut Tort Day, National Good Samaritan Day, National Canine Veterans Day, National Jewel Day, World Kidney Day, National Earmuff Day. Do you just like, does someone just say it and then it becomes true? How does this work?
So I think so. So along our last podcast, all in the beginning, and stolen from another podcast, my brother and me, they used to do a thing, and then Josh and I vaguely did a thing here and there of like, hey, let's go through all the national days that are today, and then we'll make jokes about them or talk about them or do whatever. And even like 15 years ago, that timing sounds right, 10, 15 years ago, there was like national holidays make sense to me. Like whatever nation, I'm not really concerned about that. And then there was like random things here and there, like National Blood Donor Day. And that was a real cause, a real thing to talk about. Like, hey, sometimes people need blood. There's not enough blood out there. Donate stuff. And somehow when like I feel like the grandioseness of the social mediaing, everything gets a holiday now. And the fact that there's special websites are like, what day is it today? And it doesn't mean like today's May 15th and we're talking about it. It means people across the world decide these 20 things are important today. And it's never important things. Like the Kidney Day? Like, sure, I guess we can roll with that one. But who the fuck cares about coconut torts enough where someone was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to call this Coconut Tort Day. And not only am I going to say it, I'm going to get everyone to look this up and believe in this shit today.
So the one I clicked on here, just as a sample size here, is National Nutty Fudge Day. So not just Fudge Day, Nutty Fudge Day. And when you go look at it on this random website I found, they list out sources for like the fact that it is that day, but all the sources are other websites that talk about like what holidays are on any given day. So like there's nothing that actually is like an originating source. It's all just people talking about like, hey, today's National Nutty Fudge Day.
Today's also National Odometer Day. Like, who the fuck decided that odometers needed to be observed in this way?
Yeah, it doesn't
and like
make
if I
any
click
sense.
on the link on the website, there's a whole like list of, hey, if you want to learn about odometers, these are the things that's about. Like, it comes from Greek words meaning path and measure. They're first developed in the 1600s. They were XYZ, but no one really cares. And it even says like use hashtag National Odometer Day to talk about this fine day, this greatest of holidays. And it's not even like there's no National Odometer Network Service Agency, whatever, that would even start this. So it was like some dude in his garage bored one day and was like, today's Odometer Day. I rolled 50 of them back today for all my customers. So today's going to be a national day for this. And we went from there.
It has to be something like that, right? It has to just be just like, yeah, some random mechanic decided it was National Odometer Day because they had a sale that day or something. And then it just somehow stuck and got added to some calendar somewhere. And now everyone just repeats it back forever and ever and ever.
So looking at I was so intrigued that I looked up hashtag National Odometer Day because now I'm concerned about it and I was curious. The top results on XC Everything app. Hey, what day is it? It says it's National Odometer Day. I don't count that one because that's just repeating back some media. The Maryland Department of Emergency Management said, have you heard about National Odometer Day? It's dedicated to celebrating the invention of the odometer. If it ever comes up during trivia night, now you know. Well, it was invented by William Clayton. That's the trivia.
Okay.
The New York State DMV says, don't get scammed by crappy odometer readings. Report your fraud. So that one has one. Georgia's Department of Transportation talks about Odometer Day. Maryland's Department of Transportation talks about it. So it's basically just like car places, but like on the state level, or just like probably like API grabbing those stupid days and just like repeating them back to people, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. It's just an echo chamber. I think, Toby, we start the National Comment Writer Day today. I think we begin it. I went back and looked up. We posted our first episode back October 6th, 2022. So I think from here on out, October 6th is National Comment Writer Day.
Are you going to be able to remember that?
No, but
Neither am I.
I'm going to write it down right now in my notes. And maybe someone out there will remember it. October 6th, National, I'm spelling it as we speak, National Comment Writers Day.
I have a better idea for this.
Okay.
What if just every day we use our social medias and just say Happy National Comment Writer Day?
Oh,
and
so it's going by Rusev Day rules.
Yeah, and eventually like it'll trend because it gets talked about every day.
Yeah.
But it won't, like, it'll always be the day. And
like
everyone will be excited, like, wow, it's National Comment Writer Day.
So every day on the show, like every time we record a show, we can wish each other Happy Comment Writers Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. This is good. I'm gonna write down actually every day in my notes, and I'm gonna put an exclamation point afterwards. So there, we've solved it. Look at this.
I'm gonna use my power on Blue Sky right now to post this from the business account that is ours.
Please do. I'm not sure I've ever logged onto Blue Sky from a computer. It appears that I have not. So
I got you. I got you.
Yeah, so those are days. And there's lots of them. Yeah, we used to at my work years ago now at this point. But someone that I worked with used to like look up what the days were, what the holidays were every day, and would like share it around to the team. And that's when I first got clued into like really just how dumb these days truly are. Like sometimes they are the most like ridiculous, weird, obscure things that you could ever imagine.
Those are the things that jobs do that it's usually too late once you're there to realize these things. But there's like lots of red flags about corporate environments that people should watch out for. Of like, this is probably a really weird place to work. And I feel like the people that would post like every day, send the group email, send the bulletin out of like, oh, by the way, today is National Odometer Day. Everyone check your readings. Ha ha. LOL. Smiley face. Like those people are way too ingrained in the corporate culture there.
Yeah.
And that's one of those places that are definitely a nightmare on the backside. You might not notice it right away, but that's like your first red flag of what will soon to be many to come.
Yeah, I think anytime you can get exposed to a little bit of the culture of a workplace before you go in, you should take the little exposure that you got and try to twist it into its dark Tim Burton version of itself, because that's what the real life version is, right? Like once you're there for a while, like it's not cute anymore, like it's not a weird fun thing anymore. It will grate on your nerves more than anything that could possibly be. So like try to figure that out going in. Is this, if I hear this every day for the next 3 years, am I going to kill myself? And then that's a good tip for you.
So I learned, this is one of the things that I learned the hard way. So my first adult IT job, I never wanted to go in the corporate world. I rallied against having a freaking bachelor's in IT, we'll call it basically. First job interview I went to for an actual like big boy adult job. I was basically, well, first of all, it started with I was recommended to work there by someone that worked there who was a friend of my family. I'm pretty sure I got that job just because of nepotism, right? That's the word. That's the right word for that situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I got the job based on nepotism, and then that was when I realized that like jobs and skills and qualifications don't really matter. It's really just the networking within said jobs that get you more jobs.
Oftentimes, yep.
So I learned that kind of early, at least. But obviously, as years go on, you see it more and more. You get it. But I went for my interview. And the lady that interviewed me was probably early to mid 40s. I was mid 20s. We sit down where she starts talking, and I'm probably paraphrasing, but we were bullshitting about something. And she was like, oh yeah, it's not too fucking bad here, but there's crazy days. You know what I'm talking about? And I laughed. And she was like, oh, I curse. Like, sorry, I curse a lot. Like, I hope that's okay. Like, I'm not trying to be offensive, but I'm just bullshitting with you basically. So I thought it was cool. I was like, wow, like she seems laid back, chill. She doesn't mind cursing because I definitely curse a lot. It slips out times I don't mean it to. But I thought it was awesome that she was that chill about it. And then I worked there for like 2 or 3 years. And over those 2 or 3 years, I realized that was just like, that should have been my first red flag of she might be a nightmare to work for. And then over the 3 years I was there, I learned the hard way of like, oh, like she said fuck during an interview. That was super unprofessional. And then as we went through my years there, she would say all sorts of things to me that were hardcore, super like unprofessional, and those actions are unprofessional and everything else. So on the way out, when I really thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, I should have noticed this up front. Like that was my sign of she's probably a little crazy as a manager.
Yeah, that's a great example because it's the perfect one of just like, hey, this seems fun, and like, hey, this isn't what I expected, but it's like, hey, I'm kind of like this, and this is cool and interesting. But yeah, then you extrapolate it out. It's like, oh, if you're willing to be kind of inappropriate in this one way, you probably are in lots of ways.
You don't even know me, and you're saying fuck in an interview. Like, there's probably a flag here.
Yeah, because like, yeah, that initially like at first blush seems like it might be innocuous, but then it's like, it's not, it's just not the way you behave in an interview. So clearly there's something off here. Yeah, that's perfect. Like,
I'm sure it was a vibe check of like, I mean, to be remotely fair, it's probably a vibe check of if he bristles and gets real uptight that I cursed, he probably wouldn't fit in working for me either.
That's true. It was
so
probably
I
a
guess
test,
I kind of get it, but like it was definitely the first sign of many that I should have listened to.
Oh man, that's great. Well, Toby, speaking of things that we should listen to, the little buzzer in the back of my head that says "Talk about Kamen Rider" is going.
Wait,
off.
no, I'm gonna tell one more story about this lady quick.
Okay.
So of all the legit, like, lots of very inappropriate things came out of her mouth over the years. The best, not verbally inappropriate thing, but like managerially inappropriate.
Yeah.
It was towards the end of my, what I'll call my tenure there. And every year I'd say, like, I think I deserve more of a raise in this. You know, it was a 4-person help desk that turned into like 1, maybe 1.5, considering the other kid was there but didn't always help. And every year I'd be like, can I have a better raise? Can I make more money? Oh, the business, we don't have money here, that kind of horse shit. And she was like, but if you ask, like, I'll vouch for you. She's like, your review's coming up. You know, we got this, blah, blah, blah. So I went to my review with her and her boss. We sat down, we're talking about everything. And I was like, I was told this is my chance to say I would like to make more money. Like, I do a lot of things here. You know, I think I deserve more than the effectively like IT minimum wage I'm making. So my director, like boss's boss, is like, oh, okay, I hear you, blah, blah, blah. And I look at her expecting like, okay, I've quote unquote been her friend for 3 years. I've had her back. Like, now is your time to strike. Help me out. She looks at me and she goes, do you think your job's hard? And I was like, what?
What?
And she's like, do you think your job is hard? And I was like, well, no, because I'm good at it. Like, I don't think anything I'm doing here is extreme, but like, that's because I've worked here for 3 years and I've gotten good at it, like, blah, blah. And she was like, well, I don't know that you necessarily deserve more money because it's not like you're doing anything super tough here, blah, blah, blah.
Dude.
And like, I literally almost cried. And I think the boss saw me getting ready to cry. And he was like, no. He was like, no, Toby has a point. Like, sure, you're saying that he doesn't have a hard job, but he still has a mortgage to pay and everything else. Like, we can look into it, but I'm going to warn you now too. You know, you might have to leave to get more money, and kind of like that kind of vibe. One of them said it. I think she did. I think that was her go-to of like, well, if you want more money, you should probably leave. So on that day, I started looking for another job. My best friend's dad worked at a different place looking for an IT person. Again, the nepotism thing. And he was like, if you want to come in for an interview, I got you. You have to get the job yourself. I'm not anywhere near that role, but I can get you in. Got into the interview. I kind of bombed the interview. But on the way out, the guy that was interviewing me, who was his own nightmare I found out later, was like, oh, just so you know, like, I respect you more because you're the only person that didn't lie to me and told me you didn't know anything when I asked you the certain questions versus like, because he was like, do you know networking stuff? Like, on a scale from 1 to 10. And I was like, 2? And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, I never did that stuff. I was like, I can do other help desk stuff. I was like, never touch network stuff. I can learn it, blah, blah. So he went through the whole thing and he was like, yeah, everyone else always tells me like 6 or 7 to try to like lie high to make it sound like I'm not the best, but I know stuff. And he was like, but then I asked him like 7 out of 10 questions and they would just stare at me like they didn't know.
Yep.
And he's like, I respect you more for being honest with me than I would have for anything else. So I got that job. I went into work the one day. I walked over to her and I was like, hey, just so you know, like, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. This is stressful for me, but like, this is my last, like, here's 2 weeks, blah, blah. And she's like, what? And I said, yeah, like, you told me to get a different job if I wanted to make more money. So today is my 2 weeks notice. I got another job. So she looked at me. We had cubicles. I had like a help desk office-y thing. She had a cubicle and she's like, get away from me. Or she either said, get away from me or get the fuck away from me. So I walked around the corner, walked back in my little office. I hear her slam something on her desk. She stomps past me. She looks in the room, like tears streaming down her face, and she like runs outside.
What?
So, yeah. So I like didn't know what to do. The other help desk kid looked at me and he was like, what's up? And I was like, yeah, I quit today. And he's like, fucking awesome. Good for you. I said, yeah, like she completely fucked me over here. So I'm quitting. And he was like, that's awesome. He's like, I'm so happy for you. He's like, I got this. Don't worry. So we happened to have like, I won tickets from the company to a baseball game that day. So I went to the baseball game with the people at the company that I won the tickets with.
Hell yeah.
They were all like, oh, I heard you quit, blah, blah, blah. We're at the baseball game. I was getting drunk and she texted me and she was like, I'm sorry for the reaction that I had. It caught me off guard. She's like, I'm happy for you, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is, she said, "Get the fuck away from me" after I quit.
Yeah.
And then cried and stormed past me.
Why do you think that she sabotaged you in the raise conversation? Like, what's her deal?
I have no idea.
Because
I have a lot of questions about her all these years later. But that was like the final straw.
It's almost that's so strange. It's almost like she's like trying to keep you under her thumb or something, and then like was shocked when you actually left. That's so weird. Because there's like there's one like it makes sense to me, a manager being like, "Oh yeah, I totally support you asking for more money," and then just not speaking up on your behalf later on, right? Like that's easy, right? Because that's like that's the path of least resistance on all fronts. But to say that you should ask for more money and then in the meeting undermine you about it is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. That's insane.
Yeah. So if we're gonna call this an ice cream sandwich, the one half of the ice cream sandwich was curse words on the way in, and the other half of the ice cream sandwich was
tears.
The betrayal, the backstab, the get the fuck away from me. So I guess a curse on the other side, and then tears. The tears were the ice cream and gooey center.
That is wild. Yeah. And yeah, as someone who interviews people on occasion, I agree with you. I agree with that person wholeheartedly that like if you don't know something, just say that in the interview. Like it's so obvious when someone is lying to try to elevate their knowledge about something, and it's just so painful as the person doing the interview. I'm just like, I know you're not telling the truth. I wish you would just tell the truth right now. It'd be so much easier if you just said you didn't know anything about this, because now I've got to ask questions about it, and you clearly don't know anything about it.
It's crazy because up until, I would say legit, up until that point where I quit there, I was a much more timid, quiet person at jobs. And that, I think, was the actual motivation for a switch to go off of my personality, where it was like, the only way shit's gonna work is if you say stuff and then you just back it up. And like quitting for a raise, that's kind of stupid too, but that's the way that one worked.
Lots of people have to sometimes.
Yeah, but like at every job past that, not with that specific conversation, but like I found out that all I had to do was be firm with what I said, and then if someone comes back at you, it's just in my mind of like, I will fight for myself as long as I have to. I know when to concede when I'm wrong, but like, you have to be your own cheerleader kind of thing. But like, that was the point that tipped me of like, I can do this. All I have to do is speak up for myself. And if I'm going to speak up for myself, just follow through. Like, don't do the thinly veiled stuff. Just say like, this is what I mean, and this is what's going to happen if you don't. And just everyone has respected me more ever since then. So it's a good learning lesson.
Yeah, there you go. Toby, let's go learn about some Kamen Rider now.
Now we can learn about Kamen Rider.
So we're talking about Kamen Rider Gavv episode 34 this time around. Last time, you'll remember on the show, the noble, the Granute noble Magen is sent to Earth to destroy the Kamen Riders. He's very Terminator-esque. He was modified by Nielv and hooked on dark confections by the president and sent to Earth to fuck some shit up, basically. And last episode, of course, we also got the Gochi Pod created from Dente's teeth. Thanks, Uncle Dente. And filled it up with 100 Gochizo and created Overgavv. So this episode, we open with Overgavv finishing his big, huge blow against Magen. Gets blown away. Sachika's all excited. But then we find out back at headquarters that Magen probably isn't dead. Shoma's pretty sure that he just got knocked back and didn't actually get knocked out, and he disappeared. So they think that he's sort of licking his wounds and going to be showing back up again.
Yeah, like his statement was, I feel like I just punched rocks, and I didn't actually punch a person to smash.
He's like, I know what person squishing under my thumb feels like. This did not feel like that. We also have Shoma see that Dente's missing his teeth. So we get some furthering of that story. And we also see at the same time that Nielv finds Magen. So he is kind of picking him up, dusting him off, and tells him that he needs some more adjustments, quote unquote.
Got to tweak him up a little bit.
Yeah. And then back at Hapipare, Shoma reveals that he is completely out of Gochizo. He used his 100 Gochizo to fill up the pod last time around. He has no more. And also, Hapipare is completely cleaned out of snacks. Turns out Dente has eaten them out of house and home, and there's nothing left to create new Gochizo with in the headquarters. So certainly a Gavv specific problem here.
So when he dehenshined from Super Gavv form, we'll call it, did you think it's like when all the little Gochizos flew away and they like re-exploded back out of his little new toy?
Yeah.
Do you think it sounded like a million little voices crying out at once and then just suddenly stopping?
All being silenced. Yes, exactly. That was the Gochizo Death Star that went off the Gochi pod. Just destroyed Gochizo all around. And every week now we're gonna have just another Gochizo genocide. Apparently, when 100 are gonna die at a time here.
So it's kind of funny, like we can just to keep on that small little swoop of the story. The fact that they had to do, or they did do, like this wacky little montage of. Well, he doesn't use any other forms anymore because I guess we didn't kill like the big monster that we know is tough or whatever. And the fact that the only real solution to refill 100 Gochizos again is like I guess the obvious part, but kind of wacky of just like, oh, you're just gonna sit there and eat, man. Yeah. Like your goal today is to eat like 10,000 calories worth of snacks, but we need 100 Gochizos. Like no matter what, you need to sit here and just like gluttonize yourself. Until you poop out enough little guys to fill us back up just in case.
I thought that was awesome because, a lot of times you get these powerful forms and they might even introduce them as like, oh, he's got to be careful because this takes so much extra energy, right? Oh, when he henshins into this form, he can only do it for a short period of time. Otherwise, he gets completely wiped out and destroyed. And then by like the third time we see it, it's like, that's not really a thing anymore. No one cares. Yeah. Like, I really like that this form, at least at this point, has like a pretty heavy cost to use it. And then I love that we spent an entire episode like manually building it back up so we could do it again. Like that is, you don't see that very often in shows where it's like, no, that used a lot of resources and now we actually have to recreate those resources. And that was kind of neat and refreshing. It makes the big over Gavv form feel extra special, and it gives it a barrier. If we don't see it next week, it'll make sense that we don't see it because we gotta build those Gochizo back up, So it'll be interesting to see how they use it going forward, to see if it is something that shows up every week now that we have it, or if it's something that comes out a little bit less frequently. Because 100 is a lot, is what we found out this time around.
And it's kind of crazy too. We're like, obviously, the whole vibe of this is. Like the first couple of Gochizos that died, we saw the little angels go away. People tracked like, wow, they're real living things that died. We're going to put some weight to this. Like, oh, 4 jelly bean ones died or gummy bear one died, 1 chip one, blah, blah. And now we're just farming them like they're nothing.
Yeah.
And just like, I'm gonna put no effort into this other than eating, and then I'm just gonna throw all you guys back in this little pod where for sure you're all gonna die. Like he used to have a bunch that just rolled with him and they were his friends. And now it's just like, you're all useless to me. You're peons. Jump in my belt so I can die, so I can kill you.
Yeah, if you look at this show in the scheme of Kamen Riders that have happened recently, it's so funny because we had 01, which is one of its primary focuses is the humanity of like robots and AI and like things that are artificial, like becoming human. And then we have Gotchard, which one of its core points is like living in unison and living peacefully with the chemis, which again are like the weird created gimmick items. But like it's all about them having autonomy and finding a place to live and being their friends and stuff. And then you get to Gavv and it's like, yeah, they're my friends, but I also kill them by the hundreds. And I don't feel bad about it whatsoever. because they do all the friendship stuff with them, right? They send them on little missions and they talk to them and they bounce around and they're fun. But yeah, we also just load them all into the kill wagon and kill them.
Yeah, like especially now, like more than ever.
Yeah, it is just crazy. Yeah, we're just gonna load 100 into the pod every single time, and that's just how it's gonna go. It was interesting again here too. Shoma goes out to do some shopping for snacks. He heads to that little corner store again, the little konbini, where he met the guy before a couple times now, and he again has like a little conversation with the kid and a little conversation with that guy. So I'm curious to see how we're gonna use that guy, but it's probably gonna tug at the heartstrings of Shoma, whatever happens, I think.
I feel like the little boy that he showed the candy to, I feel like it was the same boy all the way from the beginning. Like the first one that, like, again, I had horrible face blindness, but he looked in my brain super close to that first little boy that was like, that he saved from the car and showed him that sweets were good. Like, it looked like the same kid to me. And I guess it probably wasn't, because I feel like the kid would have remembered him.
The kid would remember, yeah.
But I also couldn't tell if, like, they used the same actor, just because that was, like, a kid that was tied to the production.
They could?
And they just pretended, like, hey, don't worry about it. Just take the candy from this weird dude and go on with your day.
Yeah, could be. Sachika calls and tells Shoma to come back home because they're going to make snacks there. And then we get an awesome little montage where they're making all the kind of snacks that you could possibly imagine, and everybody's involved. We've got Denti working, we've got Sachika working, we have Rakia, we have Hanto. They're wearing like the cutest little aprons you've ever seen and doing dishes and making, I don't know, cotton candy and all kinds of stuff. They've got some pancakes going, they've got crepes, they've got all kinds of cookies and stuff. I loved the little working scene where they're all working together to make snacks for him. It was very cute.
So unless it's the wrong name or the wrong kid, I can't tell the episodes. Oh no, just the early ones. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say the kid was in 2 episodes, but he was in 2 episodes all in the beginning, so it's not the same kid. It's some other kid.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, so I loved them all working together to make the little snacks and stuff. That was super super fun, and like again, a lot of Gavv is like kind of like a cozy feeling. You know, you've seen the people who are like really into like, I like cozy gaming, and I feel like Gavv sometimes is like cozy watching. I'm just like, yeah, I like you guys all being friends together and hanging out, and this feels good.
I thought it was kind of funny that like the timeline of this whole little project seems off, because they told him he could go get snacks. It seems like he went right to the snack store he knew. And by the time he got his snacks, they called and they were like, you know what, just come back, don't worry about it. And they still let him leave. But the amount of shit they had set up in that apartment, by the time he got back, was like a whole circus's worth of snacks, ideas, fun things to do. And it just seemed absurd to me, like, oh yeah, we forgot that we had a freaking cotton candy maker in the house.
Yeah.
Come on back. We can make some cotton candy.
It's also very funny. It's like, oh yeah, we're out of like every snack that we possibly had, but apparently we also just have every ingredient available. Because the insinuation was we didn't go out and get any of this stuff. It was like we just decided to make it in house. So that also was pretty funny. But they get the job done. He makes a ton of gochizo, and unfortunately, he doesn't end up making enough. But we'll get to that here in a second. Next up in the show, we get to move over to Granute World for a little bit, and Glotta is meeting with Lascelles, and basically this boils down to Lascelles kind of threatens Glotta. Glotta is kind of like asking, like, why do you have your hooks in Jeeb? Like, what's going on here? And then Jeeb shows up wearing the Sheeta disguise.
Still cosplaying as his sister.
Yeah. Gives Glotta a jump scare, which is pretty great. And then Lascelles basically tells her, like, you should think very hard about how you conduct yourself now, and kind of threatens her. So Lascelles...
You work for me, fucker.
Yeah. Lascelles really trying to make friends with everyone involved here. And then, of course, we get to see that Magen is now back on Earth, and he has a new gun, thanks to Nielv. And he uses that gun to basically firebomb a building. So just some casual terrorism going on.
The best part of any Kamen Rider series or episode or...
Totally, yeah. His whole plan here, because he explains it, is he wants to trap these people in this burning building so that they like can't get away, essentially. So he can then capture them and also draw out the Kamen Riders. This is the whole plan. He's just putting people in peril so he can get the Kamen Riders to show up.
Nothing like a good human bait.
And then putting shows back up to Happy Pare to report that Magen is back. And like I said, we're not quite at 100 Gochizo yet, but it seems like we're very close. And Rakia and Hanto decide that they're going to go out and confront Magen and try to buy some time so Shoma can finish the final few Gochizo. I thought that this was great because Rakia is like, yeah, I guess we'll go out. And then it's like, and it's really going to suck because we're like really not any sort of a match for that guy. Both of them just freely admitting that they're barely going to hang on until Shoma can get there.
They're definitely like, we're basically like tanking for you at this point, buddy. Like, we need you to step up a little bit here because we're definitely going to get our asses kicked if we go. We could probably use some help here with this if you can help us, please.
Yep. But again, suddenly snack eating is not producing Gochizos for Shoma. And this is kind of a little aside, but like basically they have to remind him like, oh, you have to do it and it has to be fun. You have to have exploration. You have to enjoy the snacks. You can't just do it out of desperation. So he's got to go get his snack notebook and he's got to remind himself why he likes snacks in the first place for the Gochizo to pop back out.
I know it helps to make like a crux for the food fest and things for him to have to do. It seems absurd to me that they decided we're going to use the number 100 Gochizos, which is fine. They can pick any number they want to. But they were like, yeah, you powered through 97 of them, but these last 3 just aren't popping out. Like, I feel like you wouldn't get to 97 if it was you're not having fun anymore. You get to like 15. You get to 10. Like, you wouldn't make it that far. And then, of course, doing the irritating, stupid Kamen Rider thing of like when Gottschalk would just spam out 20 new chemis in one episode that we never saw again. Sachika made 3 brand new delicious snacks. He hossed them all down. Like, these are the greatest things ever. Thank you so much. 3 brand new Gochizos popped out that we've never seen before. And he just like puts them in his pocket. He's like, yep, we're ready now. Get in the frying pan with your buddies. We're going to cook you up today.
I was going to say, he doesn't just put them in his pocket. He loads them in the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you're my brand new favorite food. It's this cool like rice bean cake where the rice bean stuff is on the outside, not the inside. This is the most delicious snack you ever made. Hey, look, it's a new Gochizo. Oh, by the way, you're one of the 100 now. Get in here.
Lambs to the slaughter. Yeah, that is very funny. I also found the vision of the merry-go-round where he's riding it along with every snack that he's ever tried in his dream sequence.
Yeah, that was absurd but funny.
Yeah, so absurd. Just over the top absurd. But again, fits in the show. So he finally gets those last few Gochizo, powers up the pod. And we cut back to the fight. Magen is holding his own easily with the 2 riders. And at one point, even Rakia has to save Hanto because Hanto's frappe Gochizo kind of melts. He dehensions, and he's about to get murdered, basically. And Rakia has to like jump in front and push him off so that he doesn't get hit. So that was a cute moment between the 2 of them.
Yeah, like it actually is cool enough that they're good enough friends now where he's like, no, man, like, I won't let you die. We'll keep going together.
Shoma shows up and henshins into over Gavv once again. Really, really great sound effects as he henshins. They really like hammer home the weight of this suit and kind of how powerful it is. And he walks and it makes like cool gummy noises that we haven't really heard before. He's kind of hunched over the whole time he's in this form too, which is very neat. But
yeah, definite weight to it. Definitely, like, I'm stressing with this. Yeah. There's 50 extra pounds on me that I don't know how to handle.
Exactly. Yeah, they're doing a good job of making the clearly plastic parts feel like they have some heft to them. And then he begins the fight, but of course he is struggling a little bit here. He misses his first over smash and his second and his third and his fourth. And basically he finds out that he just can't hit Mogin. Mogin's a little bit faster than him. And every time he tries to like use all of his power for a giant hit, Mogin just kind of jumps out of the way.
And he giggles. He's like, "Oh, Pidgey was right. You're too fat and slow, and you don't understand how strong you are. I'm safe and set."
And again, I thought that this was a cool like representation of a limitation of the advanced Kamen Rider forms. Because again, most of the time we get to these forms and they're just like all powerful, right? Like they're super crazy. There's like, why would you ever use the other forms? This one's clearly better than everything else. And Overgav is very cool, but like requires 100 Gochizo, is clearly like heavy and slow despite being powerful. So it, like there's some trade-offs there. I like that we get to see a little bit of that in the fight here. And it leads to the big problem solved from Hanto and Rakia. They rush in to basically capture Mogin. So they wrap him up with like flan and 2 donuts and throw him forward basically at Shoma, kind of launch him at Shoma's big fist so he can do the big final over smash blow and wipe Mogin out. So a cool thing that involved all 3 of them, which is surprising because, you know, obviously 2 of them weren't super effective in the actual fight, so they found a way to make them important for the big finish too. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It was definitely extra cool with the fact that from the group that didn't really get along,
yeah,
to now they effectively have like a 3-man tag team finisher, and like and like this is how we have to win. Like we're both gonna like I said before, like tank for you. But they're basically like, we will both hold this monster. He is going to beat the shit out of both of us while we're holding him. But we're gonna like drag him as hard as possible, get him close to your fist. Please just punch him when we get there.
Yeah, it was awesome. Now that they have won, of course, they still have to go rescue the people. They talk about that. And as they run off, as the fight finishes, we get to see very briefly that there is an agent that had been watching the whole time. It's one of the fancy like butler ones that belongs to the president. It looks like most likely. So the president has some eyes and ears, or at least Lascelles has some eyes and ears watching over the fight. We also get to see a little brief scene with Denti. I'm interested to hear your thoughts here, because he's like having some great memories about them all working together and all the snacks they have, but then he says something along the lines of like, well, they won't need me anymore, or like they won't miss me. And then he kind of freezes and the snack drops, and then we sort of pan out of his cave. So I'm assuming he's dying, right?
I would assume he's dying / dead. Like you did call when it started. That was your prediction-ish of, yeah, man, he's going to die. This is the beginning of the end for him. He did his time. And this seems way too on point for that, of like, hey, like, I gave up all my teeth. I wounded the fuck out of myself. Snacks aren't helping anymore. He dropped his snow globe with the sled in it, and he's like, he whispered his last word, cookie, and he's good to go.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess Shoma will probably find him next time or something and be very sad. But yeah, it looks like we maybe have seen the last of Denti. Then finally, to finish the episode out, we have some changes for the Stomach family. So the president is telling them that Nielv will now report directly to him as part of this new like technology group that he's making. So Nielv kind of gets moved over to the other team, and Longo's like, I knew that you were stabbing us in the back. And hilariously, Nielv is like, the things that I want to do require exorbitant amounts of money. Which is just such an awesome reason to stab somebody in the back, especially your brother.
and especially his attitude of like, I knew you were betraying me, and then Pidgey's like, yeah, but I knew you were a piece of crap too, basically. Like they both like kind of looked at each other and said like, I don't like you, you don't like me either. We both knew we were trying to fuck each other over. Like you just beat me to it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. just one of them won. And then the president also makes an order for 10 million of the premium dark confections. So they react as if that's a whole lot. That seems like a whole lot. And like it seems like it'll be hard to place that order, to fulfill that order. But Lascelles says that the president's family, her family, will be footing the bill, and then Longo kind of like was like, oh well, they're footing the bill. I guess we just have to stock up. So he's got some kind of plan in motion for that to happen. It sounds like.
Yeah, and with that too, like there's the way he worded it to me, basically, or like maybe it's just me like doing math or bad math or whatever. When they're like, we want 10 million or 10 billion, what the hell it was, million or billion?
Million.
Okay. For a reason, I took it as like billion, or even at million now. Like the vibe I always feel like we were given is one person, like one Anthropress to one piece of candy.
Yep.
Or at least that was the way I took it.
I think that's still true. Yeah.
Okay. So having a plan of like, because the foot lady Glada was like, do you know how many ingredients that takes, or how much humans that takes, basically? Where did it, like, it might be 10 million that you're requesting, but it takes like 100 million people to make 10 million candies, kind of vibe. So it seems like the number's even higher than it sounds.
Yeah, I think that the number's so high. So where I think this is going, my prediction, I think that like Longo's thought here, and I think what'll end up happening, is that they have to like basically ramp up the terror on Earth. It's like, I think this number means that they can't just like pick and choose the happy people. They have to go in and they're going to have to like wipe out whole towns or whole city blocks worth of people. And I think it's going to be more of a world threatening thing that the writers have to save, instead of just a like, there's an evil clown that's eating random children once in a while. It'll be more like, there's a, evil Granute that's eating an entire city block.
It's definitely that, or at least like, because the way they worded it or like pushed it of like, no, we want the premium stuff though. Like I felt like throughout the show, story, whatever, it was, oh, the premium stuff comes from super happy people, or this, I make it out of this. So I feel like they're still cherry picking like a very exact group of people or way to get the people.
That's true.
Where it seems like it's gonna be like a lot of extra work, like double extra work.
Unless they have some mechanism to make everyone like orgasmically happy, like Rakia had. Unless they're gonna try
to bring him back.
Yeah,
they're gonna bring him back and suck him back in, and then he's gonna. Then we're really gonna see.
They'll see. Yeah, that's where we're headed there in Kamen Rider. Let's hop over to I guess the world of emails is what we'll say. Email address is cast@kamenwritersucks.com. Once again, cast@kamenwritersucks.com if you want to send us in an email. Our friend Shade often sends us in emails.
That he does.
Specifically, he often translates the producer's blog for us. But Shade is currently traveling and sent us an email explaining such. So I took my own hand at looking at a couple of the producer's blog things that are going on. A couple of things I found interesting to point out from the producer's blog. When they showed the 100 Gochizos, they actually used the physical Gochizos for that. They like attached them to a pole so they could like wiggle the poles and make them move in the show, and then they just removed the poles during editing. So there's actually an image.
I was gonna say, it definitely sounds like one of those behind the scenes goofy images things where like,
yep,
we always laugh at how goofy, and like obviously it has to be done a certain way, but like how goofy and funny it actually looks to see like behind the scenes kind of deal.
Yeah, it is. It's hilarious. It's people crouched holding green sticks that have like 10 Gochizos tied to them a piece, and then just shaking the sticks. I loved that as an answer. The new Gochizos that we talked about that you said popped out that we very, very briefly got to see again were almond cookie rice balls and banana crepes. So those three are new Gochizos with new art and stuff that popped out. And the last thing I saw in the blog that I thought was really funny was they specifically point out that Magen, when he's holding the gun, he holds it like a clutch bag, which specifically is supposed to reference the fact that he is noble. Like he would be someone who might carry a clutch bag to a formal event. So he was instructed to carry his gun in that way, to hammer home his noble nature. And that's very funny. But as always, some very good photos and stuff from behind the scenes. They talk about Denti at the end, and kind of, again, insinuate that something bad is happening here. Yeah, it seems like he's just not coming back, basically. That's what that boils down to. So that's a quick little producer's blog hit. Again, Shade, thanks for linking that. And I guess to wrap up Gavv there, Shade also sent us in an email about O's. Would you like to hear Shade's thoughts on O's now, or do you want to wait a couple weeks until our last episode of O's comes out?
I want to hear the thoughts on O's now.
Okay.
Because my thoughts on O's are very well known and very well heard, and they will be heard once again after Shade presumably is going to take the opposite stance of what I believe that show is.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So again, if you're not aware, we've been watching through Kamen Rider O's over on the Patreon, and now you can watch the first 3 episodes of our O's watch along for free. So go check that out, patreon.com/thecommentwriters, and you can start the O's journey along with us. We have finished all the O's that we're going to watch. The episodes are still coming out though, so if you sign up now, you'll be able to watch the last few over the next couple weeks. Shade says, my thoughts on O's for when you guys finish the show. Shade says, hey guys, after hearing that you guys are almost done with O's, I wanted to give some of my thoughts on the show from someone who's seen it a long time ago. First off, I was actually quite surprised to learn that you guys hated the start of the show so much. I'm aware that the first half of the show.
I hate the end too. Don't worry. It was a full playthrough.
I'm aware that the first half of the show was a slow burn with the amount of 2-parters, but I did find a lot of those to be really entertaining and great for building character. In fact, a lot of what I remember from O's are often from the first 2/3 of the show. I was fully expecting that at least Josh would be into the show, judging from the fact that the head writer for O's also wrote for Shinkenger. In fact, I'm pretty sure she worked on O's after she was done with Shinkenger. I guess that just means that they can't all be hits. To me, O's is probably one of my favorite Kamen Rider shows. It's not my absolute top 5. Or sorry, it's not my absolute favorite top 5, but it drifts between 5 and 10 every so often. The show's from an era of Kamen Rider that I grew up with, so that could have something to do with it. O's is part of an era people dub the early Neo Heisei, or Heisei Phase 2. It was when Kamen Rider slowly pivoted away from early 2000s edgy J-drama era and got really experimental with their colors, concepts, and VFX, which paid off immensely because it was the most unique thing you see from Kamen Rider now is pretty much a result of that specific era. Like other shows in the era, I like how their first dozen episodes are always just Monster of the Week stories with very minor plot progression, which is a good balance between the old episodes, the old episodic Showa Kamen Rider formula and modern TV shows formula. I know you guys probably hated watching this, but I'd argue that these early episodes do an important job of creating a status quo, characterization, and setting up foundation for future plot lines. At the start, you'll notice that even Kamen Rider Gavv followed this formula as well, but they kind of condensed everything into 6 or so episodes instead of the usual dozen. Something else that's super interesting about this era is that they routinely asked what being a Kamen Rider is all about. The previous series, Kamen Rider Double, was about 2 flawed individuals growing and becoming one perfect Kamen Rider. The next Kamen Rider was about friendship and is basically a love letter towards non-Kamen Rider supporting characters. So what does O's do, you ask? Well, you're probably at the point where you can see that Edgy is somewhat of a deconstruction of a stereotypical Kamen Rider protagonist. Older Kamen Rider protagonists go through an immense amount of self-sacrifice and still come out all stoic and heroic, so Edgy was written to explore what a truly selfless hero would realistically look like. For this reason, Edgy's a very beloved Kamen Rider protagonist to this day, and in my opinion is one of the most grounded Kamen Rider protagonists ever. To this day, I still have a lot of fond memories about the show, and rewatching it a couple years back for its 10th anniversary, it made me appreciate it even more, because I'm old now. Anyway, I think Kamen Rider O's is pretty great. I have no doubt you guys will like the next one even more than O's if you didn't like O's that much. And then in parentheses, please be Kuga next. Please be Kuga next. Please be Kuga next.
I'm going to unofficially take that as Shade's vote for Kuga, and I will add that to the wheel just in case he's not back in time. I make my noises about the show. I'm going to give him Shade a pass because he said he had regard for it growing up, and I'm not taking people's childhoods away. I'm saying if you're watching this at 41/42 years old, this is a bad show. I'm going to keep saying it's a bad show. And he mentions the early character building, but I don't remember character building. I mean, sure, we spread it out maybe a little bit longer than like people that would have watched the season normally. But it's basically like Edgy's a mope, Ankh hates him, and that was episode 2, and that was episode 45.
Yeah.
So like it's the same to me. It's the same thing.
And that's where I'm at too with the show. Like I will acknowledge that the Monster of the Week style of show is not my favorite, especially when we are watching it for content. Like if I'm just putting a show on just to enjoy it, I can enjoy some Monster of the Week nonsense and like it's fine. I'll see the same thing a few times in a row. But when it's a show where we need to we need to talk about it, we need to have something to say, the pure like Monster of the Week, no plot moves forward stuff makes it a little bit harder. Like that's just sort of the nature of what we're doing here. But I think you can do a like Monster of the Week while still giving me interesting things about the characters. Like I think that Boon Boomjer is a great example of that. They are very much what's the monster we're fighting this week, but we still got like very cool episodes diving into the backstories of all those characters along the way.
Boom Boomjer or Goes Yuger?
I'm talking about Boom Boomjer right now, but I think that Goes Yuger is also similar in that vein.
I was just double checking. You didn't forget what show we were on.
Yeah,
that was all.
I think Boom Boomjer is interesting because it's a little bit more kiddie and a little bit more wacky, so it's a little bit easier to point out the like very structured, segmented nature of some of the episodes, while still doing things that made it feel like I was moving the plot forward. I think that early episodes of O's, I think that they try to do some character work with the bad guys, but not in a way that's interesting or easy to follow. And like, there's so much stuff that they throw at you for really like the first 30 episodes that just make you go like, wait, what? Like, why is this different? What are we doing? And like, for the hardcore O's heads out there, which we've heard from, they love that deep lore of like, oh, well, this was different because this greed does things this way and this greed does things this way, and like they're not fully powered up yet and all these other reasons. But like the show doesn't really tell you that for a really long time. Or if they do, they're bad at it. So it ended up leaving me very confused about the bad guys and not really knowing like why I cared or who I cared about. And then when you look at the good guys, it's just sort of like you said, it's Edgy being mopey and it's Ankh being angry for just so long without that relationship really changing much at all. And yeah, I wanted that to progress differently and faster, I think for sure. And yeah, it would be interesting, I think, to revisit Shinkenger as well, because it's one of those shows again that I have super fond memories of, but it's been a long time since I have watched it. But yeah, and that might just be the like difference in a Sentai. Again, my memory of Shinkenger is that they were very Monster of the Week, but they did the Boon Boomjer style thing of like episodes that drilled down on all the writers, and you got to learn about all the writers and sort of where they're coming from and what their motivations are. And yeah, we just didn't get enough of that for me in O's at least. But I think the things that Shade is saying make sense. I don't think I disagree really with much of what is being said. It's just sort of like how much you are getting out of the stuff, right? That's there. But I think what we've learned for you and me, Toby, is that we probably much more appreciate the like later stuff in Kamen Rider, the like post when they went all crazy and started getting experimental with colors and concepts and stuff. Like, that's more our vibe, and not the early, like, much more traditional Kamen Rider stuff, I think is really what we're finding out.
I guess so. Like, I'm such a weird edge case where my visibility to all this is very light. But yes, like, O's is the oldest show we technically watch. Like,
yeah,
because everything was later then. And I guess there's something flashier about the newer seasons. Like, all jokes aside of, like, the Kuga thing, that feels weirdly old to me. And that's more of my concern of, like, it was a not flashy old TV show. Of, like, one of my many fears of watching Kuga. But, like, because we watched X-Aid, and that was, like, wacky video game, bright flashing lights fun. And then all the 3 new seasons were like that. Black Sun is a special edge case because it's, like, a horror movie one, or at least it's, like, gross. I thought that was cool, and that's extra. But I don't know. My wheelhouse of things I enjoy, I guess, is weird, super happy, fun, being a Toby / being a K-Wob / being a whatever the kid's name was from Gotcha that I can't think of right now. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's none of that in O's.
Yeah.
Edgy was there, and Ankh was a dick.
Yeah. Edgy,
that's my review of O's.
Edgy, I think, is a really, I think Shade talks about him as like a deconstruction, but I just think he's a really poor lead. He's a really weak lead. Because he doesn't change that much over time. He kind of always feels like this weird blank slate where his flaws are not actual flaws like you would expect in a hero that has to overcome something. His flaws are more like, he has one pair of underwear and he cares too much. I don't know. It's like he feels a lot of times like a wet blanket. And that I never really get over that in the show, and I never find myself really rooting for him in the way that you should for the, lead of your Kamen Rider show. But anywho, that's O's. And if you think we're wrong, we'd love for you to sign up for the Patreon so you can watch along and hear our thoughts as we go through all however many 40 some episodes that there are.
How exciting.
And Shade, we thank you for writing in for your thoughts. Always nice to hear other perspectives on the shows that we're watching. If you want to be like Shade and send us in an email, you can do that. Send those over to cast@kamenridersucks.com. All right. Toby, I think that is going to wrap up the festivities for today. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
Before I do that, my official synopsis of O's. And then we're gonna leave it go. This is the last time I'm gonna punch down O's. I'm gonna forget it ever existed. Episodes 1 through 30 is Edgy going help and Ankh saying you suck whatever. And then episodes 31 plus is Edgy saying I'll kill you if I have to. Ankh saying likewise. Edgy going help though, and Ankh saying whatever you suck. And then Ankh went into coin heaven, and people probably cried. But I'm a cranky old person. I did not like it. And you can find me be extra cranky on the internet, on Twitter at Life of Tobes, at YouTube it's Tobes Plays, and on Retro Achievements it's Tobes Plays as well.
You can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol, and you can find the show on Blue Sky at kamenridersucks.com. And of course, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, whatever. Subscribe to the show on YouTube as well. And whatever you can do, give us a thumbs up, give us a review. All that stuff helps and gets us into the eyes of more people, and that's always beneficial.
And then one more time, too, I just want to remind everyone that on patreon.com/thecommentwriters for the free members, subscribers, patrons, whatever it's called, you can vote for the next Watch and React. At this point, by hearing this, you can watch the first 3 episodes of every Watch and React that we have out so far for the series. So you can watch the first 3 of what you vote for just in case it wins. And at that point, you have to make a value decision of if you want to pay $3 to hear the rest of it or not. And for the paid members, all the same things. It's just, once again, we're trying to give the free members that we enjoy you listening to the podcast, and we're trying to give you some extra perks as well. We're trying to not segregate the groups as much as they've had been. That's a flaw that I recognized earlier today, and we're moving forward and fixing that.
So yeah, join in, send in your votes there on the post. Again, it's very simple to do that. Just a quick little comment, and that casts your vote. All right, we'll be back here next time on the podcast to talk about Gavv episode 35. We hope you join us back for that. And until then, we hope you have a great week, everybody. Peace.